Hello and welcome to Geoscope here on Politics Social. Ollie's just on his way, so while he's getting here, I will say a big hello to all the lovely people in the chat, including Diz, who is there with a spanner. We've got Power to the People with Graham Price. We've got Pete's Music in the chat as well. We've got Person Impersonator impersonating people saying, nice thumbnail, Graham. Thank you very much, Person Impersonator. I spent a lot of time doing that. The good news is Ollie has now joined us. Hello, Ollie. Hi, Yorkshire.
Right.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right.
Ollie Bowlerhatman here on the show. Brilliant. So we've got loads of things to get through tonight. OMG. Some shit has been going down, going down. But yeah, before we get into that, if you'd like to join our beautiful and tremendously intelligent people in the chat, just hit the subscribe button and wait for a minute and you will be able to opine openly. But don't be a troll or we will mute you. So you'll be able to watch, but you won't be able to speak. We will cancel you. And then you can go on all the talk shows and tell everyone how you've been cancelled. And it's a big... Anyway, Ollie, we're heading for a global financial apocalypse. How's your Wednesday been? Tuesday.
It's all right.
Getting ahead of myself there, aren't I? How's your Tuesday been?
Yeah, I think this comes back to what we mentioned. I'm sure we mentioned this last week, or we might have mentioned it on the Politics Social. Trump wants to get rid of his guy in the Fed. This is what has caused all this. And the guy at the Fed, or at least the Federal Reserve, is like our Bank of England. It's independent of the government, so that ideally you have stable financial institutions, so that ideally if you get a new party or someone like that, they can't just come in and change something, do something radical. At least there's a bit of stability. And as we've learned from the past couple of weeks, the economy loves stability. It loves knowing what's going to happen. It's kind of boring like that.
Well, that's why I did Brexit, isn't it?
Exactly. Constantly just not knowing what was going to happen from one week to the next and just going, woo! Any time, any moment possible. But anyway, the guy at the Fed, his big, shall we say, lever he controls is just like our head at the Bank of England, is inflation. You know, he controls the rates.
Yeah.
And when inflation goes up, you raise your rates. That makes borrowing money a bit more harder. Again, when inflation comes down, it makes it a bit, easier, and it's all good for, higher rates good for savers, lower rates good for people who want to sort of borrow money and spend it, fast, mostly businesses. So, good and positive things on either end of those areas. But what Trump wants is he keeps on accusing his guy, who, remember, he appointed. This is the dumb thing. He appointed this guy. He keeps on calling it, he's too slow. He's either too slow or too late to raise or lower the interest rates. So Trump keeps on calling him what's his latest term for the guy he's using? It's a typical, Trump nickname. I think he's called him Slowy or something like that. It's typical Trump nicknamery.
He's called him a major loser. This is the federal chair, Jerome Powell, and Federal Reserve Chair, I should say. And yesterday the stock markets plunged. They've recovered a bit today, but the thing is that usually when the stock prices plunge, the yield, the bond yields go down, right? Because there becomes lots of demand, supply and demand for government bonds, which is money that you lend to the government, knowing that you're going to get a fixed rate of return on those investments. If people start selling those bonds like crazy, then the amount that you have to offer in terms of interest has to go up, and bond yields have spiked, and the dollar is collapsing against a basket of other currencies. This is absolutely crazy. The IMF have downgraded the US growth forecast from 2.7 to 1.8 It's the biggest downgrade of any advanced economy in history.
Yep. I mean, we had, you may remember, of course, when we had Trump announced Liberation Day and the markets just went like that.
Yeah.
And then we got the 90-day pause and the markets have sort of recovered. But Trump threatening to replace this guy has wiped that all out. So the markets went.
Jerome Powell.
Yeah.
Didn't he give him the job in the first place? Yeah. He was appointed by Trump, wasn't he? And then
this is the insane thing. This guy was appointed by him. Yeah. Now remember, you've got to remember the reason why this guy was appointed. He was appointed back in the first Trump administration, where there were adults in the room. And that's why he was appointed. That's why when it came to renewing his tenure, Biden agreed. Because, he sort of knew what he was doing in the banking world. And we've got to really see at this moment how, if generally Trump makes a move to get rid of him, are the Republicans going to go, don't think so. Don't think so.
Trumponomics.
Are they just going to allow him to do it and get away with it?
Is it? It's Trussonomics, isn't it? It's just trust on a bigger level. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, the first super chat of the evening. That's very kind of you. If we get 10 super chats tonight, we are going to wibble on a little bit longer because Maximilian doesn't seem to be doing a stream. I don't know if someone's watching this and they can find a link to Maximilian's stream. Let me know and I'll sort that out. But otherwise, we can go on a little bit over. I don't want to keep I don't want to keep Ollie away from his Easter eggs. I'm sure he's got many left over. One Angry Pagan says, Frigg's love and blessing to you wonderful badgers on this day of tweet. Trump is an economic terrorist, and I suspect you may see change to the economic order. Well, yes. Yeah. Francis in the chat is saying we are reliving the 1930s. Optimistic Nana says, in my local area, many people are so disillusioned from politics altogether or voting reform. It's tragic to see people giving up and paving the way for Farage and his wrecking crew. Hayton Bud saying, I also live in a very Tory area, but the first time I'm seeing lots of posters up for refork in my local area now. Very depressing. Takes me all of my self-control not to rip them down. Yeah, there's a flag nearby where I am in Durham. There's a flag in like a playing field, and it's a reform flag. Someone's flying a reform flag. Like they paid for that and everything. Anyway, but yeah, you're talking about worldwide news tonight. Ernie says that downgrade is quite an optimistic prediction. I don't think they have accounted for tourism collapsing and the boycotting of US products.
Yeah, I mean that is going to be devastating when you get tourism going. Yeah, that will be big, especially from Canada.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into the figures, but I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised if like Canada was where they got most of their tourists from.
Yeah. It's I
wouldn't be surprised by that.
All a bit grim-tastic. I don't know why it's not letting me set up a redirect for Max's stream. He's just sent me the link, and I've just put it in as the link, not even a search term, the actual link, and it's like no matching results. That's a bit naughty, isn't it? Maybe I need to get rid of the SI number at the end. No, that's still not working. That's terrible. What are you doing, YouTube? What are you doing to me? Doesn't like me anymore. Anyway, so yeah, do you think it's optimistic? Because I mean, the people are not going to visit America this summer. I think they're in for a hell of a shock in America for the number of tourists that aren't going to come there, because they're going to see stories of 18-year-old girls from Germany being strip searched. I mean, would you if you had an 18-year-old daughter and she was like, I'm going to go to America, I'd be like, no, sorry.
It absolutely kills tourism.
Yes.
That type of thing. And tourism, once it's damaged, incredibly hard to win back.
Yeah.
Really hard to win
I'm not
back.
even passing through America. I can pass through America now because I've got a visa. But I'm not. I'm gonna fly via. If I go back to Panama or whatever, I'm gonna fly via Amsterdam or Paris or Madrid or somewhere. I'm not going via America just in case, because if they check any of this shit that I've been saying about them, I'm in so much trouble. I'm in like all the trouble. But yeah, Trump has sparked a war against the head of the chair of the Federal Reserve, and he can't get rid of him, can he? He's got another year on his tenure, and then
Well,
Trump could
that's
put
it.
a clown in.
Even he could just ride it out for the year and then just appoint an absolute clown. Um, I mean, you've seen, you know, Kennedy Jr. Jesus Christ, there's probably, I would think, the most dangerous man in the administration.
Yeah,
You know, yeah, Trump might be bad, but oh boy, the stuff he could do is 10 times worse.
yeah, yeah,
And he's got an agenda, he's got an ideology compared to someone like Pete Hegseth or anyone else in the administration. He is incredibly dangerous, incredibly dangerous.
yeah, yeah.
Because it only takes like one serious healthcare scare, and then all of a sudden, he'll go and he could just go, well, I'm going to ban vaccinations. I mean, we know he's got coming soon
Well,
some sort of
they're going to have
document.
cured Ollie. They're going to have cured autism by September, apparently.
Oh, I know this is where it gets so weird. He's been saying so many weird things, but we know soon he's got this like document, this review into vaccines, and God knows what that's gonna say, or
Yeah,
what he's gonna do because of that.
yeah,
That's yeah. Watch out for that. That's gonna be terrifying. If I were an American now, I would be making sure I've got every single vaccination currently
yeah.
going because you might not be able to get it in America too much longer.
Yes.
You know?
And no, I mean the I mean what's going to come of that is going to be an absolute horror show. You're already seeing
Yeah.
over 600 children across 26 states have been diagnosed with
Yep.
measles, which is a life-threatening condition. I can't stress this enough. It is a life-threatening condition. My
Yeah.
partner is deaf because of measles, getting it as a kid, and one of my good friends when I was growing up was in a coma for several weeks as a result of contracting measles, and had to pump him full of steroids in Alder Hay Children's Hospital to keep him alive. It was, like that's quite a traumatic thing for any kid to go through, any
Yeah.
parent to go through.
I'll tell you what's even more shocking.
Why would you put your kid through that? I have no idea.
You've seen, Jubilee. They do
Yeah,
like 1 versus 20.
yeah. The debate
Um,
grows.
yeah, they did 1 doctor versus 20 vaccine
I saw
skeptics.
a few clips from that.
Yeah, you want to be scared. You want to be worried by like how much like vaccine disinformation and damage that can do. Go have a look at see what those people are saying,
Yeah,
and like go and hunt down the doctor. I think he's called Dr. Mike. Watch his video he did in response to that, because he's even got more stuff about that and what he says about that really worries him as someone who is a doctor, like a pediatrician. I think he's a pediatrician. So yeah,
yeah. But I saw a
super
meme.
worried.
I saw there's a video on Facebook, and you can't fake that. You
Yeah.
can't go on YouTube and lie. It's
Uh,
actually impossible to go on this and say something that isn't true.
that's what's
Um,
terrifying. That's what's terrifying.
it's,
Like, say you watch
we're
that
peer
Jubilee
reviewed.
episode and you're
We're
just
peer
like, oh my
reviewed, aren't we, Ollie?
words.
Like there's someone standing behind us. I know you can't see them, but
Uh,
basically, if we put out something that's not true on this
yeah.
medium,
Is that a badger I see before me?
all these people, like they come down on us like a ton of bricks and say that our research wasn't thorough enough, and oh no, hang on, that's peer reviewed science. Sorry, I was getting that mixed up with what we're doing here. Don't take our advice. Just take the advice of your fucking doctor. That's who's got your best interests at heart, not some vitamin
But
salesman on
it's not
some
just
daft
like
internet platform.
medicine stuff like that. You want to watch another fascinating debate against like a complete pseudoscientist. Um, Last year on the Joe Rogan experience, Joe Rogan hosted a debate of an archaeologist called Flint Dibble versus another guy called Graham Hancock. And
Oh
Graham
yes,
Hancock is the guy who did that Netflix series,
yes,
um, what is it? Ancient Apocalypse.
Yeah, whose son is a high up bigwig executive
Yeah.
at
I
Netflix.
wonder how he got that.
Nepo babies, they make their dreams come true.
It's not even Nepo babies. It's like reverse
Nepo babies. You scratch my back. Well, you know, if it wasn't for the banjo player out of Mumford and Sons making loads of money out of his shit records, he might not have been able to get his dad to pay for GB News to exist.
But honestly, that's another fascinating like debate to watch, because they've got an actual archaeologist who's coming up with all this, actual history of all this stuff.
Stupid name though.
And then you've got this other guy who's just like, yeah, there might have been this like ancient civilization that was destroyed by the Ice Age. It's like, okay, well, where's the evidence for it? Where's the evidence they left behind?
All the Mormons believed there was a 13th tribe of Israel that lived in North America and left no evidence behind. So, it happens. Umka, thank you very much for the €5 super chat. Being human, and especially a vaccinated human, is woke in modern America. Indeed. But you notice that the people who tell people not to get vaccinated are invariably vaccinated themselves. Because they're evil, they're not stupid. Okay? They're happy to let your child die of a preventable disease, like most children did die back in the Victorian era before we had modern medicine and vaccination. They died of things like smallpox, don't exist anymore, or polio, which doesn't exist in the Western world. Might start existing again in America. Who knows? People died of tuberculosis. That was wiped out by modern medicine. I mean, the number of things that used to finish kids off. And here's a horrible stat for you. 150 years ago, every single childbirth, it was a 50-50 chance that both the mother and the child would die, or they would live. 50-50 chance every time. I mean, the mother or the child would die. And I think it was Queen Anne. I might be getting this wrong. You can let me know in the chat if it's wrong. There was one of our queens who had something like 17 pregnancies, and not one of those pregnancies resulted in a child who made it past the age of 5. And she was the richest woman in Britain at the time, using the medicine that they had, using the homeopathic, non-vaccinated, drinking raw milk situation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it is scary. That it is really scary, honestly. That this like anti-intellectual movement that is sort of going on, and it's especially like the anti-vax movement. It has been going on for a long time, and in the UK we've done a pretty good job at very, very, very much tamping it down. However, that's not been as successful in America, and it is, now with the Maha movement, Make America Healthy Again. They're bringing all sorts of that in quite a big way, and as they say, if you mess about with these type of things, you're going to find out about the consequences.
Yeah. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the super chat there, mate. £5 super chat. I'd love to go to the US to see the Rex Sessamon, Sue and Scotty, but I will not go because of all this. I know others like myself in similar positions. Yep, absolutely. I'd like to go and see the publisher of my book, because then I might get another book published in September. He won't be in a position to come to me. I'll be in Toronto, and I won't be in a position to go and visit him in Ohio, which is only a couple of hours down the road. It's not far to drive. I'm not going. I'm just not going. I think it's really shit. I can't go and see my mate in Ohio because I'm scared of crossing that border because of what they'll do to me. Because I'm very Googleable. What can I say? I understand that one, Angry Pagan, completely. Optimistic Nihilist, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. A global trend liberal democracies around the world are drifting into the coming decades as electoral monarchism elect a demagogue and ordain them to behave like a tyrant because he fights for us. Well, yeah, exactly. Umka, £5 super chat. Let's build a European wall against those unvaccinated migrants from the USA, and Americans will pay for it. No, I don't think we should do that, because the only people who are not going to be vaccinated in America are going to be kids, are going to be children. I think that we are missing a huge opportunity if we don't throw open the gates to the Americans right now, and say, if you are an American PhD, or you're a star in your field, we will facilitate you to have a visa to come here for 10 years, bring your family, everything, and you don't have to pay for it. We'll pay for the flight. Just come here.
Now, I have something about that. Because not too long ago, I wrote to my MP.
Oh, yes.
I wrote to my MP, Dan Jarvis. Now, let me get his response.
Okay, well, while you're looking for his response, I will read out something from Futum Stuck, who says, Graham, Greem, and Graham are all pronounced the same, Ollie. That was just 3 different ways of spelling Graham. They're just variant spellings of exactly the same name. Well, yeah. There's also a version of Greemy that doesn't have the E at the end. So if you ever watch 24, Jack Bauer's evil brother was called Greemy without the E at the end. So it was just Greem. But it was pronounced Graham. Actually, it wasn't. It was pronounced Graham because it was American. And they pronounced Graham as Graham. Fun fact. That's why Laura in Graham is pronounced Laura Ingram over there.
Have we been pronouncing graham crackers all wrong? Is it Graham crackers?
Well, no, we say Graham crackers, but they say graham crackers. But Golden Grahams in the UK, in the US, are called Golden Grahams.
Golden Grahams.
Yeah. So
it's not the Grammys, it's the Grahams.
I have a ridiculous name, Graham Hughes. So you could miss out 2 letters in both of my names, and it would be pronounced the same in America. But there you go. Did you find it?
Yes, I've got it here. Yeah. So, like I said, I wrote to him a couple of weeks ago. One of the things I brought up was this brain drain in America. So we had this part of the response to it. He said, on the brain drain in America, we are already actually looking to take advantage of the skilled workers who would like to come to the UK to offer their expertise. Initiatives such as the Artificial Intelligence Opportunities Action Plan, again, something I learnt about when he sort of responded to this, have suggested how we can better now facilitate the entry of these skilled professionals and top talent into the UK to drive innovation. So, yeah, the UK government is fully well aware of the fact that this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Fully well aware of the fact that this is an opportunity, and they are going to try and take advantage of it, because
they need to hurry the fuck up. Like now, because other countries are going to do it in front of us. We need to get these people over here as soon as possible. I'm sorry, America, we're taking them. I wrote to Mary Foy. I wrote to my MP today. Do you want me to read the letter I wrote to her? Do you care?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, cool. Dear Mary, I know Mary quite well. I campaigned with her and door knocked with her to get elected, and I met her a few times. Hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to you not just as your constituent, but as someone who is angry, heartbroken, and deeply concerned about the state of our country following the UK Supreme Court's recent ruling defining women in the Equality Act as biological sex. This ruling isn't just a legal misstep, it's a moral failure, and it has already had devastating real-world consequences. I have trans friends who are absolutely traumatized. The trauma of being told they do not legally count, that their identities are not worthy of protection, has shattered people that I care about. Meanwhile, from the deck of a luxury yacht, J.K. Rowling gloats, smoking a cigar like some gender-switched Andrew Tate, reveling in the suffering of some of the most marginalized people in our society. Let's be absolutely clear, no trans people were consulted in this ruling, not one. Yet, one of the organizations allowed to give evidence was the LGB Alliance, a fringe group operating out of 55 Tufton Street, the same address as a cluster of far-right think tanks, bankrolled by foreign billionaires with a vested interest in destabilizing Britain from within. These forces couldn't defeat us from the outside, so now they're looking to hollow us out from the inside. Just look at what Donald Trump has done to America. This isn't just a culture war issue. This is a coordinated attack on rights, all rights. Trans rights are the canary in the coal mine. The same billionaire backers, Murdoch, Musk, Thiel, even Putin, who pushed Brexit and prop up Nigel Farage, are now pushing this crusade against trans people. Why? Because it creates division, it distracts, and most insidiously of all, it sets up a legal trap that ends at the European Court of Human Rights. Because, of course, the ECHR will, quite rightly, find that this ruling violates human rights. And when it does, Farage will jump at the chance to stoke xenophobia, claiming once again that a foreign court is interfering in British law. The exact same strategy that gave us Brexit will be used to drag us even further down the road to authoritarianism. If Labour allows this to happen, if it does not step in and stand up for trans people, then any hope of building a better country will be crushed beneath a tide of foreign-funded, far-right extremism. Mary, this is an inflection point. What we do now matters more than ever. We cannot allow rights and provisions to be reserved for those who can afford private healthcare, private policing, and private justice. That's not the British Britain we were promised, and it's not the Britain we deserve. So I'm urging you, pleading with you to take action, stand up, demand that Labour commit to amending the Equalities Act to include both biological women and trans women with a gender recognition certificate under the legal definition of women. No one has ever gone through the GRC process to commit crimes. That is a smear, it's a fear tactic, it's a lie. We must make British laws for British people, all British people, and that means protecting the most vulnerable amongst us. If Labour fails to do this, then whatever improvements we hope to make in power will be for nothing. They will be undone before the 2029 election results have finished being counted. Please don't let this moment pass without standing up for what is right. So that's what I said. So we'll see what she says back.
Yeah, well, like I say, it took a while for Dan Jarvis to respond, so we'll see.
Yeah. Sarah's really going through it at the moment. Sarah, we need you. We need people like you who are willing to be the genuine version of you. We don't need you to fight for everything at the moment. This is something that I feel like trans allies, other people within the LGBTQIA plus community can step in, because trans people have had enough. They've put up with more than enough over the last few years in this country and abroad and in America. And I really do think that it's time for the rest of us to step up and help. So if you're watching this and you haven't written to your MP yet, please do. Please write to your MP and explain to them exactly what's going to happen if they don't stand up for trans rights and their party doesn't stand up for trans rights. But Sarah, please, we need you. Stay with us, please. Honestly, I'm not just saying that to be, pretend compassionate. I genuinely believe that we need trans people in the world. There will always be trans people in the world, and to give up now is to let those horrible, mealy-mouthed, tyrannical, bigoted bastards win. And if nothing else, I hope that sheer bloody-mindedness keeps you with us, because we can't let them win. We cannot let them win. Okay, we should get back onto world politics now. Sorry, I was just outraged by the news. Obviously, this came today with Bridget Phillipson and then Keir Starmer reaffirming what the Supreme Court had said and welcoming this judgment. And I was just like, I was incensed, to say the least. Okay, should we crack on? We've got loads of other topics to cover.
Pope's died
tonight. The Pope has carked it. He's gone off to the big Pope place in the sky. What's that called? Heaven. Where he has to explain.
So, there's a potential we might have. I think the first ever Pope of color.
Well, no, there is. It won't be. It won't be. Apparently, I was corrected on this morning.
Oh, okay.
There were three of them, like about 1,500 years ago.
Oh, okay, right.
So there hasn't been a black Pope for 1,500 years, but there could be. There could be.
Yep.
So people were more
modern,
cool about shit 1,500 years ago. What? Yeah, that's crazy, but it's true.
But I think this is actually kind of probably very important, because one of the things I've certainly noticed is, again, I'm a recovering altar boy, as they say. I've still got a couple of people who are sort of sort of in the Catholic circles, as they say. Yeah. And one of the things that they've talked about was they really talked about the fact he, or at least Pope Francis, really had a lot of problems with the bishops in America. Just the bishops in America really, really went on a very hardline, hellfire preaching basically a crusade since 2016, very much in reaction to Trump. They've been worried about the rise of like Christian nationalism. They've been sort of falling into sort of potentially some of that as well. So he has done a lot to really punish them and sort of curtail, shall we say, their preaching and activities. Whereas now, if you get a more right-wing leaning pope, that might not be the case. So you might get a lot more extreme, shall we say, Christian preaching coming from American Christians. Maybe not just in there, but around the world. So that could be a consequence if a more shall we say right-wing, more traditionalist sort of pope gets in.
Well, that's
like I say, better
yeah.
a woke pope than.
Well, that's. I'm hoping that there will be someone who's more liberal who follows in Pope Francis's footsteps. Because don't forget, one of the reasons why the previous guy, Ratzenberger, one of the reasons why he stepped down, it wasn't just. They said it was his health. It wasn't his health. He lived for another 8 years or something. It was because of, first of all, the scandals that that he had helped cover up. But also, he was a conservative pope, and it just didn't go down very well. They're trying to make inroads in developing nations, other places around the world, and it just doesn't work. And I think from a like most things that we sort of identify,
Africa has,
on
I
this
think,
channel,
the highest number of Christian population and rising,
and rising,
beating all the other trends elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a video where someone was talking about how atheism is white privilege, and I thought, I've got to give it to them. They have got a point. When you don't need religion in your life, it's a lot easier to get rid of it. And so I don't feel it's a sort of a white British person's place to go around and tell people in other countries and developing nations that they shouldn't believe what they believe. At the same time, I don't think it's up to white people from our countries to go and tell people in other countries what to believe when you're a missionary for a religion. But that's another story. I think that ship has already flown. I do feel like the Catholic Church would be better served just morally, with some kind of moral authority, but also in terms of being able to grow, if they veer a bit more to the left, a little bit more to inclusivity, especially as more people are living their true life. They are living as a lesbian, or living as a gay person, or living as a divorcee, and understanding that shutting those people off from taking communion is not a great way to set things up, to grow in the future. I mean, it's fine if you want to be like Judaism and just take on nobody and make it really, really difficult to convert. But if you are evangelizing, if you are going out there and trying to get people to join the church, to go to the conservative angle makes no sense to me. But you never know. There's a phrase, something like, if someone who goes into the conclave as a pope comes out as a cardinal, nobody ever knows. Nobody knows what's going to come out of it. So it's a bit pointless to pontificate. See what I did there?
Good Pope joke.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here all week. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the super chat. Says R.I.P. woke Pope. Yeah, I mean, it was all right. He said a lot of nice things about the marginalized groups. So I'm going to give him a let. We've got Ruth Gunstone, who has joined us. Thank you so much. Welcome. You are awesome. You're on the Lone Star level, so you get a nice little pink rose. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Optimistic Nihilist, thank you very much for the £20 super chat. Meanwhile, Labour is in full-scale retreat, abandoning social justice and resigning themselves to managing the decline of public services and the welfare state, while the far right build up steam. It's a global trend as well. It is a global trend, and a global trend that we are aware of and have to fight back against with everything in our ammunition, I guess. Umka, thank you very much for the super euro. USA is full of cults pretending to be Christians, and that's another issue. And I wasn't an altar boy. I was a choir boy. And I really take issue. I don't mind people who are religious and go about their lives and use that as a moral framework for doing good. If that's the imperative for people to do good, great, no problem with that. My big problem is the hypocrisy. It's people who think that they lead these really horrible, nasty, bigoted lives, but because they go to church, it doesn't matter. Or they just completely ignore what Jesus says altogether. Accrue loads of wealth and be horrible to everyone. Don't love their neighbor. Don't invite the refugee into their home. Want to build walls and borders and all that kind of shit. But yeah, there's a thing in America, isn't there, called the Prosperity Bible, and it's a way of interpreting the Bible that says, oh, you've got to be basically, Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. That's how to be a good Christian in America these days. And you're like, really?
Yep.
I didn't see that coming, but yeah, it's quite grim. It's quite grim. Fat Cat Panda 1979. The church has always changed to some extent to keep up in steps with the time. Not sure why they haven't modernized in this time period. They have a little bit. One other thing that I liked about Pope Francis is that he didn't live in the palace. He didn't live in the palace bit of Vatican City, in like a gilded 4-poster bed with, velvet drapes and all that. He just lived in quite a simple apartment in one of the blocks in Vatican City where just normal priests and stuff live. So that, a bit of humility, I think, is good. But yeah, we'll have to see. We will have to see. I'm just reading now.
Some interesting stuff happening with the Iranian nuclear deal, potentially.
Ooh, yes.
Which is worrying, to say the least. I've talked in here before about there's a massive opportunity, a real massive opportunity, to sort of pull Iran more into sort of normalized relations, to sort of really get them away from a lot of this other stuff. But we're really missing out on that opportunity thanks to Trump. A, for ripping up the original nuclear deal because, it was signed by Obama. There's now a lot of war hawks in his cabinet that just really want to go to war with Iran.
Yes.
And now they're doing this nuclear deal. We don't know what, again, the full details of this deal completely are at the moment. But one of the things that has come out is that Russia is going to play a key role in this in some way, shape, or form. We don't exactly know what that role will be, what that will do, or whether it will be like, oh yeah, we're going to be the ones who come in and check, Iran's nuclear stockpile. And oh yeah, you can totally trust that the Russians are going to come in and just go, sure, Iran doesn't have any, nuclear material or anything like that. Just ignore the bright glowing Geiger counters over there. Just ignore all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm very, very skeptical at this moment in time. There's also, again, regarding Russia, talks now about another peace deal. Well, we've seen this. It's all talk. And I am basically now saying to anyone, unless we actually get an actual firm action, don't believe the talk. Because it is still very, very clear Russia is just not interested in a peace deal. Even now, don't think they are. Whether Trump will walk away, as he's threatened to, just this past weekend.
I kind of want him to.
According to Rubio.
I kind of want him to.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, that will pretty much then leave Europe on the hook because a lot of the Biden packages for Ukraine end.
Yes.
At some point during this year, two of the big ones end.
Europe's
this
big
summer
and ugly enough to take care of itself. We need to start breaking away from America. I was talking about this last night with Mikey about our nuclear weapons. They're maintained by America. We need to be finding alternative partners, perhaps say France, who have their own nuclear arsenal, to help get that expertise in that.
We've talked about this before. We need to extend the nuclear umbrella.
Yeah. Do you want to get really pissed off with people saying, "Oh, but we've got to move away from the apron strings of America"? And like, America set this up to sell us fucking weapons. Do you know what I mean? They were like, oh, no, it's okay, guys. We'll look after you, but you've got to buy our weapons, all right? So we went, all right. So we used our defense budget that we would have used to develop our own weapon systems. We would have used to develop our own European-based tanks and fighter jets and all this kind of stuff. We paid for American stuff because they're like, okay, well, we'll look after you, but you've got to buy our stuff. So we did. We kept up our side of the deal. And this is just like Trump with his tariffs saying it's so unfair. Like going into a shop and saying, oh, I'd like all these oranges, please. And then they sell them to you. You go, oh, that's so unfair. You don't buy any oranges off me. And they're like, do you sell oranges? No, but that's not the point. We've got a trade deficit here, and I'm going to do something about it. But yeah,
I mean, have you heard about that? Did you talk about that yesterday with Mikey?
Which one?
Oh,
which bit of it?
So because there's now this 90-day pause.
Oh, yes.
Trump is now desperately sending his trade negotiators around the world to try and negotiate all these new trade deals in 90 days.
Got 19 new trade deals or something mad.
Yeah. Did you hear about the Japan delegation?
No. Tell me.
Oh boy. So
18 trade proposals so far.
The Japan delegation basically turned up and said, okay, what's the deal? What's an offer? The American delegation just turned around and just said, we don't know. And they went home.
Wow.
The Japanese delegation said, what on earth are you smoking? And just went home.
The thing is, America's behaving like, say, for China, these, the tariffs going up and up, and they're going to be over 1,000% at some point. Like, they're behaving like they're China's only customer. They're 15%. I think it's even less than 15% now. They're only 15% of China's trade. Oh yeah, that is a huge chunk of China's trade. China have been ready for this. China have been ready for this for like 10 fucking years. They have been preparing for this day. The US has a guy who changes his mind more times than he changes his fucking underwear. And that's mad considering he shits himself at least 3 times a day. Like, how is he supposed to win this trade war against a group of people who have been studying what to do when he does this? And he's done exactly what they expected him to do.
Yeah.
They haven't been taken by surprise. I think some European leaders have been taken by surprise, but the Chinese haven't. They're just sitting there like the fucking cat in the meme, while the woman's like...
Allow me to get in some shameless self-promotion, because I did a fantastic video today.
Yes.
I did a fantastic video today. Those of you who don't know, I'm quite into my board games. And for those of you who may be into that sort of area, Stonemaier Games. Stonemaier Games, probably one of the best, I would say, board game company producers out there. They've probably yet to produce a bad board game. The biggest one I think they've ever produced was Scythe. Very, very good board game, very good tactical stuff. A lot of people have probably heard of Wingspan. It's about bird watching. Very, very good game, believe it or not. I know. A board game about bird watching, but hey, there you go. It's really good. They've also done one called Fishspan and Wormspan, about fish, and then one about dragons.
Is this Stonemaier Games?
Yep.
Suing the boss monster. Okay, I've just put the link in. So
there you go.
You can watch it later. It's in the chat.
Go watch it.
Go watch it.
They are suing. They are involved in the class action lawsuit, and they are suing Trump. They are suing the presidency.
Cool. Are they a British company or are they American?
No, they are an American company.
Yeah.
But their manufacturing is done in China.
Well,
so for every, and this is the interesting thing. So this is their statistics. So this is going to blow your mind, right? For every $10 they spend in China, because of these tariffs, they now have to spend, as a tax for every $10, they now have to spend $14.50 for every $10 as a tariff tax.
Yep. On top of the $10. So the little thing that used to cost $10 now costs $24.50.
Yep. So they have been left with something like a 1.5 million tariff tax to pay.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we don't know. They've got they were talking again. They talk on the again in the video. We talk about they're doing a restock of fish ban because it's out of stock in America currently.
Yeah.
Well, all the stock and stuff like this is printed well in advance.
Yeah.
If you go into like these big manufacturing stuff like this, it's done, 6, 12 months in advance.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, we need a run of
it takes weeks
Yeah.
to get something across the bloody Pacific Ocean from China it takes weeks to
exactly
that and get a space on the boat, and then the boat has to move and it has to find a place to dock, and God, you have to, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. You all factor this in. It's all just one thing after another. All just one thing constantly after another, all building up. And they're like, right, we've had enough. Suing.
It's just mad. It's just mad.
They're lucky. Oh. They're the lucky ones because they've actually said, yeah, we're not going to increase our price on that restock of that game.
Yeah.
They said they're going to eat the tariff.
Yeah.
So, but they're lucky that they are in that position to do that. But they're not going to be able to do that every time they have to do a restock.
Yeah.
Eventually they will have to.
Yeah.
They're talking about at the moment, which is something else we are noticing, a lot of US companies are now betting that these tariffs aren't going to last. So instead of sending their stuff over, they're now stocking it in warehouses in China because they think these tariffs aren't going to last forever. No. But if they do last for a long time, how much can you just keep that stock just sitting there in China?
Well, exactly.
Even if you want to sell it to the rest of the world,
but
that's
then
still
again,
a lot of stock you've got to shift.
The value of the US dollar's going down, so it might come to a point where, it costs even more money for them to buy the bloody things in 6 months, even more than what the tariffs put on them, because your $1 in China today can only get what $2, $3, $4 can get in 6 months' time.
Yeah, and it keeps on coming back to what I said. What we are witnessing is a fight between the Chinese supplier and the American consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple of super chats that came in. Thank you very much to Charles Stan. Well, first of all, Alice Sturm. Thank you very much. Let's help Graham get to the target chat. Thank you very much, Alice. We did get to the target. 10 out of 10. Thank you, everyone. Charles Stano, £5 super chat. Would like Cardinal Tagley from the Philippines to be the next Pope. Very open-minded. African cardinals tend to be anti-gay and conservative. That's quite true, unfortunately. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Global economic leaders gathering in US to confront Trump's new world order. The IMF and World Bank are holding their spring meetings as President Trump's trade war upends the global economy. That's from the New York Times. Thank you very much, One Angry Pagan. Yeah, there were meetings today. And there's also another big meeting that's coming up that might be going on right now, which is Tesla. Oh dear, the Tesla, is this the shareholders meeting?
The annual shareholders meeting.
Oh my God.
Oh, they're not going to be happy with that.
Fork in the road moment. Yeah.
And the thing is, these things are recorded, so I can guarantee you tomorrow you are going to be hearing some clips of some very, very upset shareholders.
Yes.
From Tesla probably tomorrow.
The questions they'll be asking: is Tesla still on track for more affordable models this year? When will full self-drive unsupervised be available for personal use on personally owned cars? Never. How is Tesla positioning itself to flexibly adapt to global economic risks in the form of tariffs, political biases, etc.? Is Robotaxi still on track for this year?
Nope.
Did Tesla experience any meaningful changes in order to inflow rate in the first quarter relating to all of the rumors of brand damage? They're the questions that people are going to be, BYD shares, right, this afternoon jumped 7.8%. So Tesla's biggest rival on the day that Tesla is having its annual general meeting, their share price is up. Oh no, God, it's even up more than that now. It's up 8.14%. as of a few moments ago.
Oh, there's gonna be so many fun conversations and like Elon excuses trotted out tomorrow. That'll be fun.
That
That'll
is
be fun.
that is crazy, isn't it? Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Hashtag BHM. It's about 2 working days delivery from China at the moment. But I don't know how they don't they do stuff where they put stuff in warehouses around the world. So when you say you're getting stuff from China, they're just releasing it from the local warehouse to you.
Well, it's manufactured in China, then it's sent to like the various distributors.
Yeah, so you're only getting it off the distributor. That's why it doesn't. Because obviously, if it was on a, unless they flew it, but if it's on a boat,
but the problem is
China,
those
it's going to take longer than 5 days to get
the
it.
manufacturer in China directly to America. Like say, if you are Stonemaier Games, they're an American-based company. What's the point of going to an American distributor to get your game when you can do it yourself, essentially? So they are going to be in a very, very tricky position, shall we say, on that.
There was CNBC reports on Tuesday that in the US public, only about 27% are positive on Tesla. GM Motors, they have a positive view of about a third, with 51% neutral and only 10% negative. Whereas, specifically regarding Musk, half of those surveyed view Musk negatively. So that's they're not. I don't know. Is Tesla going to survive? I mean, will it still be here as an ongoing concern in a few? I was going to say in a few years, but
I don't think so. I mean,
this
YouTube channel Thunderfoot's been very much accurate about Elon Musk for quite a number of years now, calling him out on all his stuff that he's said, and he said for quite a while, he's been saying, Tesla's going to be bankrupt in 5 years, and we've got 3 years to go. And well, that's quite an accurate prediction if you think Tesla's going to be bankrupt in 3 years. It's not a bad shout.
It didn't have to be. Like, honestly, if Musk had just gone to sleep, and left them to it, they'll be all right. I mean, I don't know if they'll be hitting the fucking $1 trillion mark, but the long-term status of the company would be assured. But the way it's being run at the moment, I mean, it's almost as though this guy who runs the company is busy mates with some dickhead who managed to bankrupt a couple of casinos. How someone does that, I have no idea. We've got a question that's come in via the form of a super chat from Umka. Thank you very much. Why not China put made in USA on goods? Yeah, I don't think it will work. I don't think it would work. But thanks for the super chat. Optimistic Nihilist says, despite the regression of social policy, we'll see democracies globally adopt more Keynesian policies to reinvigorate their failing economies and build up defense capacity. So there is some hope. Putting optimistic in Optimistic Nihilist there, so thank you very much. And One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. EPA to fire or reassign nearly 300 staffers working on environmental justice. That's in the Washington Post. The anti-science agenda is really fucking scary. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The anti-science agenda against NASA, the environmental, any scientists working in the environmental industry, any environmental matters, anyone working in pharmaceuticals or medicine in any way is under fire. They're coming down on Harvard, MIT. They don't want people learning. They want people to know stuff. This is Khmer Rouge year zero shit that Trump is pulling in America, because what he wants is to be king. He wants all the stupid fucking knobheads who voted for him to be the peasants. He wants them to work the fields. He doesn't want Mexicans coming over the border, work in the field. No. That's too good for them. They need to stay in Mexico, and the Americans need to work the field. They need to work their fingers to the fucking bone, never retire, never have a day off, drop the baby as they're working, carry it around with them as they're picking the crops or whatever they have to do. That's the future that Trump wants. And that's the future that all the people who voted for Trump want. And I am getting, kind of a little bit sick of seeing videos of people saying, I voted for Trump. I never expected him to do this. And I'm like, he literally said he would do this, you daft prick. Like, there's none of the stuff that he said he was going to do. None of the stuff that he's done, he didn't say he was going to do. He literally said he was going to do all this. And you got people from like Venezuela going, oh, but I've lost my protected citizenship. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you voted for. You voted to be deported back to Venezuela and be thrown in jail for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Tim has just dropped a super chat in there. Thank you very much. Graham, I buy parts from the Schengen market traders to fix stuff. And yes, it's via air. Well, there you go. Yeah. If you fly it in, it takes a few days. If you ship it in, it can take months.
Yeah, and the best way, if you still want to move big quantities of stuff, you've got to do it by ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want like a couple of like maximum, maybe like a couple of thousand units of something, but no, when you're talking like hundreds of thousands or in the millions, you need ships.
Yeah.
It's why when you look at grain, how is grain transported around the world? Still done by ships.
Exactly.
You need that tonnage. In fact, that's something else worth looking at. Japan's having a rice shortage.
They are. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not great, is it?
That's strange. But have you seen the reason why?
Why?
So they had a big boom in tourism last year.
Okay.
And all the tourists have been eating extra rice.
Okay, all right. So it's not an environmental thing.
But they've now got a rice shortage.
Fair enough.
Which I find quite weird, quite bizarre on that front.
So yeah. We've got to wrap up in a moment because our friend Maximilian's starting up on his channel. I did find the link. Finally, the link that he sent in our group chat, Ollie, it was to a video that Uncle Phil did earlier today.
Nah,
I thought
you've been putting the wrong way.
I was putting this link in, going, why isn't the link working? It was because it was a video earlier today, and you can't link to a pre-record. He's got a link to a live video that's coming up. Anyway, so yeah, that's the link. So if you keep watching this, you'll be magically transported over to Maximilian's feed. But yes, the IMF, 40% chance of a US-led global recession. The WTO has forecasted a drop in global trade for 2025. Mexico, Canada, Germany, France, Japan, and the UK have all had their growth forecasts cut. This is all because of one man. This is all because of Donald J. Trump. God, yeah. I wish him the best, the absolute best. I didn't nearly wish something on him there that I'm not allowed to wish on him. But you know what I'm thinking, don't you? You know what I'm thinking.
It's all right. He's one cheeseburger away from it, so you know.
Well, that's what we hope, isn't it?
Well, you say that, but then you get JD Vance. Like I generally think JD Vance would be like even far worse.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Out of the frying pan into the fire type of situation now.
But good news for anyone peddling gold. Like I don't know.
Yeah, gold prices are up like crazy.
Savage. You know, if you get paid to peddle gold.
Oh yeah.
Like Nigel Farage does. It's a good day today, isn't it? The IMF have said that the original projections, pre-Trump projections, have been jettisoned, kicked out, thrown overboard.
Yep.
Anyway, right. Okay, so we're going to have to leave it at that, I'm afraid. There's loads more to talk about. Jesus, should we do another show tomorrow? Can the world just slow down a little bit? Can you slow down? World, you're just moving a bit too fast. We don't have all the time in the world to talk about it. But thank you very much, Ollie, for coming on. And if you'd like to follow Ollie on his channel, if you click on the link in the title of this video, you'll be able to go to Ollie's channel, give him a subscribe. And it doesn't cost anything, but it's nice. Something else doesn't cost anything, but it's nice, is a like. Everyone likes a like. Give us a like before you go. And big thank you to everyone watching, everyone who's dropped some words in the chat there. Thank you very much. If you would like to join the people who have got a little rose after their name, just hit that lovely join button if it's available and join the channel. I'll put your name at the end when I get around to it. Hey. So that's it. Thanks for the super chats. Really appreciate it. You keep this channel afloat. And I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with Morning Brew. And until then, I'll say thank you very much to David Stothard. Thank you very much, David. It's a great name, isn't it? Stothard. For the £2 super chat. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye.